How is phase 6 looking like? We actually got all the information what's coming, and I think it is a great opportunity for everybody to see if it is worth sticking around for it or not. Well, first of all, we got some news here. The new Silitid mounts, so that's the mounts you get inside the raid. You will be able to use them outside of AQ40. They were mounts that you were allowed to just use them inside AQ40 in vanilla proper, and now in Assault you're going to be able to ride them outside. So everybody is getting a free Scarab Lord mount with cooler colors. If getting Scarab Lord wasn't pointless before, I think it's gonna be now. I mean, I'm happy because I still do not have a fast mount, guys. Believe it or not, I still have not gotten my 100% mount because I was expecting them to make it easier to get at some point, and here it is. I saved myself 1,000 gold. Get mad. Oh my god, guys. Siren is posting on Reddit. I mean, nothing wrong with the guy. God bless him. You probably don't want to be here. Very well. Now let's talk about the difficulty settings. They are explaining the difficulty mode, and people got kinda mad. So they are saying once again that the difficulty system is gonna mean even less than before, because instead of removing it, which is what they should have done and what people told them to do, they just they insist on it. Based on feedback on the previous phases of raid content, the baseline number of rewards per boss has been given an increase in the Temple of Anquirage and Ruins of Anquirage, and fewer power affecting rewards come from the bonus. So that means the bonus loot from difficulty is less important. Most items coming from the bonus chest are trade skill related, so like crafting materials or something, or cosmetic in nature. That would include this mount. The mount is gonna come from the difficulty modes, but there are a few bonus items scattered throughout the bonus chests as well. Please note that any power affecting item can be obtained from the bonus chests, can also just drop normally. Like, look at the damage control. They gotta do a clarification within a clarification. After dropping a clarification 2 weeks ago, it took 2 tiers for people to finally sink in and go, we are done with difficulty modes, it's not fun. It sounded like a good idea on paper, and I was kinda part of that bandwagon too, honestly, and we tried it and it just makes everything crappier. Please do not do this. This is the first tier where they announced the difficulty mode, and it was universally flamed on Reddit. Molten Core and Blackwing Let, it was like a 50-50. Some people were okay, some people were not okay. Now it's like universally, as soon as they found out the difficulty mode, people were like, God, Blizzard, stop, stop. They will not stop. Nax Ramas is gonna have Mythic Plus and 20 mechanics per boss. Deal with it. Very well, now the important part, there is profession gear coming. So this is gonna be all the crafted gear you can get from the difficulty modes. It should involve a lot of nature resistance gear. As you guys know, you need nature resistance to fight Princess Huhuran, and nature resistance in general helps with all the other bosses, so it's never a bad thing to have. By the way, tier 2 has nature resistance. I hope you have been farming it all along because you're gonna need it. I didn't even start. If I gotta get nature resistance cap to tank Anquirage, I am probably not even gonna do it. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. We're gonna see on the PTR tomorrow, Friday 15th, we're gonna be raiding. That's when the raid is supposed to open. Let's see if they do not cancel it this time. So we're getting a tanking set. Let's take a look at that. Every single one of them has a Thorns effect. It does nature damage when you get hit. That's weird. 100 nature damage. It's not even a chance. It's guaranteed. Oh my god. Oh my god, this is gonna be so broken. Okay. Just take a look at this. Let me... This is so stupid, I cannot believe it. When struck in combat, so every time, does it have an internal cooldown? It does not have an internal cooldown. So every time you get hit by anything, you do 100 damage. And it causes double threat. This is insanity. I mean, obviously it's intended for AoE, but that's so much threat, it might even be worth it for a bunch of tanks. I mean, probably not for bosses because you don't get hit very often, but dude, this is insane. And they put defense on it. They didn't put nature resistance in all of it. As a matter of fact, I think the only one that has nature resistance is the helmet, 35. That's a little odd. Apparently the tanking set is also the same. It does nature damage. It only the pants have nature resistance. I mean, it's still, if you can get all of them easily, it shouldn't be too bad. Like, if you're in Huhuran, all that matters is your resistance. You're gonna be wearing crap gear anyway. So if you can mix and match leather and plate gear, you're still gonna be fine. Let's see the cloth tanking set. So it's lifesteal instead of nature damage, but it's still super insane. This you get lifesteal every time you get hit, and the gloves have nature res. and the bracers. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, let's take a look at the cloak. And 1% hit, 23 agi, that's probably decent. Don't think that's gonna be beast. A little spell power, yeah, none of this is good. Yeah, it's like catch-up gear, is fine. This is probably from AQ20. I do not recall where this loot was from. I think this is from AQ20. Nothing very good here. Let's see the weapons, okay? The weapons are the cool part, right? Okay, there is a super fast sword, probably for paladins. 73 DPS, pretty respectable. 100, okay, so this is like a paladin version of Untamed Blade. It has a proc of damage too, and it does extra damage on sillited creatures. Huh. Okay, this is so many procs. Yeah, this is a paladin weapon. Obviously a paladin weapon. That's gonna hit really hard. How does it look like? Oh, not very good. Not very good. Then we got the Obsidian Defender. Okay, that's supposed to be the tank one. No, it's really slow. That's for shamans, I guess. 1% hit, 9 defense, 56 DPS. That's okay. Yeah, that's not very good. Obsidian Destroyer, 200 mace, also very fast. That's for druids. Okay, more druid weapons. Heart Seeker Dagger. Okay, this is probably the tanking one. 56 DPS, that's kinda low. 170 speed, excellent speed for tanking warriors, of course. 1% crit and extra damage. It is decent, but I don't know if that's gonna be best in slot. Let's see what else we got for tanks here. Do we got anything else? So they got a caster weapon, 60 spell power, that's not even beast. A 200 axe, pretty slow, 73 DPS. Yeah, that's decent. Also not best in slot, but kinda close. Obsidian Shotgun. Okay, that's just for hunters. Slow weapon for hunters, that's good. Obsidian Stormhammer. Okay, that's just for casters. That's for shamans. Okay, no tanking weapon in there, and the melee DPS weapons are pretty mid. Let's see the shield. 2% block, that's probably for paladins and shamans, that's decent. No nature resistance, it would have been a great opportunity to put nature resistance on this. And the silence when you get hit, that this might be like a PvP item. PvP item with a silence would be kinda cool, I get that. That's interesting. Tuned Force Reactive Disc. This is the shield that bounces damage on AoE, but they are reworking it very well. When you block, you do AoE damage, and you also get an on-use that does AoE damage. That's cool. I like more AoE stuff for tanks. It doesn't really matter. This would be an insane item in vanilla, but even warriors have decent AoE threat now, so is it gonna be really that useful? I don't think so. Trinkets. Okay, there's something interesting on trinkets. 2% crit, 2% attack speed. Okay, this is good. The speed stone. Yeah, I could see like every melee is gonna want one of these. That sounds really good. 1% expertise, so that's like reducing dodge or parry. That's really good. That's even better than hit, actually. 11 defense, and when you get hit, you do 80 nature damage. Heh, pretty mid. I mean, you know what? 1% reduced chance to dodge and 1% reduced chance to parry, because it's both in the tooltip, right? That is effectively 2% extra hit. So for a tank, it is probably best in slot. It's not that exciting, I get it, but because parry haste is like awful, right? You know, like that's terrifying, especially when you're starting a pool and your first shield slam gets parried or dodged. That can break your threat, you know? So I'm probably gonna go for this. Lowstone or Retaliation, that's an interesting item. Definitely going on the best in slot list. Enchanted Stopwatch, that's just the nifty stopwatch again. Whatever. Another trinket for casters, 1% crit and 63 healing. Okay, probably decent. Let's do a quick look at the relics, okay? We got 3% heals, 3% heals, 3% heals. Oh, they work really hard on these trinkets, didn't they? Okay, 3% damage, 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 and 3% damage. Okay, very inspired this tier, I can see. Okay, the new world bosses, the loot from that also got leaked. Let's take a look at that. So, this is the old item, and this slide is gonna be the new item, right? Oh, look at that, they are putting nature resistance on the boots. Okay, that's good. We need a lot more nature resistance gear. I hope they make it easy to get. A dagger skill item, 3 dagger skill, it's still 30 agility. Oh, okay, this leather helmet is gonna be amazing. Rogues are gonna be really happy about that. Let's see here. A paladin tanking trinket, nobody cares. A crossbow, kinda slow, 43 DPS. Not best in slot, but it should be pretty close. 1% hit, 21 agility. I don't think that's best in slot either, but it should be also very close. Okay, a cloth belt with nature resistance for casters. more caster gear, leather caster gear with 2% crit, that's probably best in slot right there. Healer plate gear with nature resistance on it. Let's hope we see a lot more purpose-built nature resistance items. There is also a caster mail nature resistance boots. Generic caster loot. Okay, look at this sword. Let's take a look at this tanking sword. No, it's way too fast. It's way too slow, I mean. Really slow. 270. That's only gonna be useful for like a paladin, I guess. The DPS is also very low. Okay, that's useless. And leather shoulders, 25 nature res. Probably gonna have to farm this. A dagger with also terrible DPS is kinda decent, I guess. More caster loot. Caster loot is so not exciting to talk about. I don't mean to say that casters are not interesting, guys. It's just like, what can you put it? Like, it's just a stat stick, everything that casters get, right? Like, there is a lot of little interactions that items have for melees that you can talk about, like the 1% less dodge thing. That's like a thing you can talk about for like a minute, and it's interesting, but the caster loot is like, oh, this has 20 more spell power, huh? I don't know, so forgive me for skipping a little bit of it. You know, it's just like, how can I make it interesting, you know? Okay, plate shoulders, the 25 nature res. A trinket for healers, and okay, here's more nature res here. Plate boots for nature res. There is a lot of nature res, that's great. We're gonna need every single bit of it. 4 weapon damage. Huh. Okay, see, this is what I mean by melee loot being interesting. What does 4 weapon damage mean? 4 weapon damage means that your base weapon damage, every swing, is gonna do 4 more damage. So if you do Mortal Strike, right, that's 100% weapon damage, that is gonna do 4 more damage. Weapon damage only matters when you have like a really fast weapon, like a dagger. A 1.5 dagger, you take 4 extra damage from that item, right? And you divide it by 1.5. That is 2.6 extra DPS on an item. That is not something to sneeze at. I think it is a little undertuned, and it's only for dual wielding shamans that this is gonna be a good item. It would be an amazing item for a rogue, but it's male, so they cannot use it. So yeah, probably pretty mid. I am not too well versed in the dual wielding shaman, guys. You're gonna have to forgive me. Maybe it is a great item. I do not think so. Oh yeah, that's also another thing. If you are dual wielding, it counts twice. So it's actually a lot better for that. Okay, generic tanking loot, that's not very good. 15 nature resistance bracers. 15 nature resistance cloth gloves. 20 nature resistance cloak. If there is no melee cloak, that's still gonna be best in slot for all the tanks. More druid loot. 2% crit and 112 healing. That's gotta be best in slot, okay? Rampant growth. Yeah, this is easily best in slot right here. Is there anything better? It looks kinda cool too. It looks like baby at the edge or something. I like it. And a ring with 20 nature res and 1% hit. Okay, this is like the molten core ring. That's awesome. You're never gonna get this ring. Everybody's gonna want it. It's like really good for a nature res set because you're always missing hit on a nature res gear, right? So it's the perfect item to put hit on it. Very well. Aside from that, there is even more mounts. They are reworking Stranglethorn Vale because some people really like STB. I have yet to do a single STB. I think I did 2 actually when it came out, and I thought this is the stupidest thing ever. But some people like it, you know. I don't mean to hate. If you like STB, I'm sure you're gonna be happy about that. You're gonna get the Soul Guru mounts. That's gonna be the raptor and the tiger. Can we see the model yet? Oh, we can. Oh, it's a white raptor. Okay, it looks really cool. And there's also this tiger. The tiger looks meh. The raptor looks amazing though. Very well, I'm gonna skip over this very quickly here because I think it's like even more generic loot that is probably not even best in slot. I don't see anything crazy here. And there is a new PvP trinket that removes your CC. Okay, that's pretty good. And this is for every class, it would seem. Okay, so this is big. You know how the PvP trinket depends on your class what CC it breaks? I do not know the exact interactions, but for example, I don't know, like if you're a warlock, you cannot break out of stones with your PvP trinket and stuff like that. Well, this is for every class. I don't know how that's gonna impact PvP, but it's definitely gonna be something you feel. That would be interesting to talk about to a PvP Andy. Everybody gets the good PvP trinket, basically. That's cool. We are also getting new weapons for rank 14 for all the people that spent all year grinding for it. Let's see what they get. 80 DPS, that's a sulfurous water weapon right here. 380, that's really slow, so this is gonna be a really good weapon. Probably best in slot in AQ40, not gonna be best in slot in Nax Ramas, that's fine though, that's fine. Caster Mace with 153 healing power, that's gonna be easily best in slot. The main Hander Sword is 61 DPS, it is about on par with Blackwing Lerlut. Cruel Shoruk is probably even better, I think. Of course, it comes out in every weapon type. You got sword, mace, and axe. There is also a mace for shamans, I guess, for enhancement shamans or something. Very good DPS, of course. And there is, of course, all the variants for the two-hander. Okay, here's the fast weapon. You got a sword and a dagger. That's gonna be for tanking. 61 DPS for a one-hander at this speed is gonna be insane for tanking. Then we got this dagger for dagger rogues and probably tanks, I guess, but you can get this one anyway, so probably just for rogues. Also decent. A nice AoE shield for tanking in AoE, I guess. Not very good for PvP. A spell blade that is 81 spell power and 1% crit. Is that even that good? It should be up there. Should be up there. And the staff has the same amount of spell power. Why would you go for the staff then? Yeah, seems pretty underwhelming, honestly. It seems to be all on par with BWL loot. So I am sorry, guys. I think you farmed rank 14 for nothing. It is a little better. It is like 3 DPS better. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There is also a tier 2.5. 50% less cooldown on Death Wish. That's gonna be really crazy. Probably this alone is gonna make it mandatory to go 2-piece. That's a really good set bonus. 10% extra damage when any nearby enemy is affected with both rend and deep wounds. 10% damage is 10% damage, but like, is that gonna be better than tier 1, which is 10% damage and 10% crit? Doesn't seem like it. I don't think so. The 2-piece is insane. The 2-piece is definitely like worth getting, absolutely. For the tank, you get a 100% cooldown on Thunderclap, so you can spam it. I mean, cool, I guess. It's decent threat. It's definitely really good for AoE. Nothing to write home about. And your Shield Slam deals 100% increased threat, and its cooldown is reset if you get a dodge or a parry. Wow, that's crazy. That's gonna take a little bit of math. So Shield Slam is 12.83% of my damage, and you gotta remember, guys, that Shield Slam is twice the same amount of threat. So on average, without taking into account the cooldown reset that you get if you get parried, it shouldn't be that significant, except if you are starting the pool and your first Shield Slam gets parried, and that happens all the time, by the way, so that's cool. It should be a net about 11% threat bonus, something like that. So this should be in par with the 4-piece set bonus that you get in Blackwing Lair, so yeah, that's kinda cool. I do not see the set bonuses being that crazy. They feel like the same set bonus we always had, but like on a new set. I am not particularly crazy about them. But yes, that is gonna be all of phase 6 apparently. What did you think? Honestly, I think the loot is not even that important. I think the loot is not even that much better than tier 2. If you were to skip this entire phase, I do not think how you would miss out on it much. We are gonna test the raid tomorrow, and we're gonna see if I like the raid, which is gonna be the main decider of am I actually gonna play phase 6 seriously or not. But honestly, if I do not think the raid is really fun, I do not really see a reason to stick around for phase 6. Like, the gear is almost the same. Maybe they are concerned with power creep, maybe they wanna make it like a catch-up raid or something, I don't know. You gotta put a carrot on the stick, man. This is not a carrot on the stick. Subscribe, join the Discord, and thank you for watching.